there's not a lot going on in this photo. It's not even a very complicated photo, but what it represents to me is progress. And this image contains several things that are the culmination, or maybe the latest iteration, because there's never really a culmination in photography. There's always something more to learn. But the latest iteration of things that I've been learning over the years of shooting close-up photos. So this is an orange light. It's a string of lights wrapped around some sort of shrubbery at the Oklahoma State University campus. And years ago, what I would have done is isolate just this one bulb. And I would have tried to get as close as I could to this one light bulb and taken a picture of it and maybe called it a day. I like to do more than that now. And when I saw this scene, which is a super common scene, like you see these all over anywhere you live, you're going to see a scene like this in the wintertime. And I thought, well, what can I do to make a more interesting photo than just here's a close-up of a light bulb? Well, what I can't control a lot about the situation, but I can do a couple things. Number one, I can pay attention to the lighting and the surroundings in general. These lights were wrapped around this shrubbery, and so I went around to one side that was in shadow. So the sun, if you're looking at this head on, off to the right, can you imagine, is where the sun is, which means off to the left, where we are, is the dark side of this shrubbery. And so the lighting it's even throughout the whole thing. And I took this at 1:30 in the afternoon. It was not a dark time of day, but the lighting here was all uniformly shadowy. And that's something I wouldn't have paid attention to before. Another thing I paid attention to was what's behind the subject, not just the light bulb, but what else is in the frame. And I intentionally shot it at an angle where there was a whole bunch more lights behind it that kind of clumped together in that blurry mess. And that's all intentional. Even the way they're obscured with those branches cutting through the lights, that's intentional. Even the way that the light is positioned along that vertical third, like if you were to divide this photo into 3 vertical columns, this light would be on the division of the rightmost column and the middle column. This was all intentional on my part. And it almost looks like there's a white line or a gray line cutting the image off at that third on the right-hand side. These are all intentional choices that I made specifically to create this composition. And earlier on, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years ago in my photography, I would have never done any of that. I would have just tried to take a super cool picture of a light that's up close and then get to Lightroom and realize wow, that's kind of a boring photo. The one thing I might have done differently is adjust the aperture. I wanted the light bulb to be nice and sharp, and it is, but the green housing is not. And I think I shot this at f4.8. If I had shot it maybe a little shallower, like f5.6 or something like that, I think it would have given me a little more sharpness on the subject itself. But as it stands, it's fine. This isn't anything frame worthy, but to me, it represents growth and change and more things that I've learned over time. And that's really what it's all about for me.